DA makes references to blocks of no one being injured, but then says it's intentional. You add that up with the supposed rage, the supposed intent to harm and kill, and it doesn't kick in until well within blocks. And maybe it's just me, but I would think if I was characterizing someone with this intent to kill and this rage and this anger, then why weren't people immediately harmed? Why would someone with intent to kill and rage try to alert people of their presence, repeatedly honk their horn? You heard a detective, if you recall, testify that the vehicle that he observed was not only honking his horn, but was not speeding. So where does this rage kick in? Where does this insatiable intent to kill kick in? They speak as someone who's known someone for years. Which brings me back to the vehicle. What if the vehicle couldn't stop because of the malfunction?
Objection, fact, not in evidence.
What if the driver of the vehicle was unable to stop the vehicle? Because of that fact, what if the driver may have panicked? Does that make the driver a crazed, or not crazed, a rage? Does that make the driver in a rage and intent on killing people? DA played a exhibit 17. You don't see anyone struck in that vehicle. On that exhibit, you don't see anyone struck. Was someone who had this intent to kill, this rage, as she says. If that was their intent, wouldn't they have taken the opportunity to hit as many people as they could? Target people, mow down people. Reference was made to this vehicle, the damage. Says this was all caused by bodies, but then later turns around and says hits barricades and other objects. I've heard testimony about hearing loud crashes and things of that nature, but the DA wants you to believe that this all came from people. Evidence doesn't support that. So I go back to trying to wrap my head around everything that's happened in the last year. Praying for those families, praying for the people that tragically lost their life, because that should not be lost either. the fact that there was lives lost, and all the emphasis has been put on the alleged defendant. And the people have been disregarded. Makes me wonder, does the DA even care about those people? There's been prayers going up every day. It's been suffering on both sides. It's been threats, hate mail. Because of the narratives that's been put out there, the misconceptions that have been put out there, the lies that have been put out there, lies that have caused my children not to be able to go to school, to be bullied, for my mother to have to leave her home and stay at a hotel because she's afraid for her safety, because she gets hate mail shoved through her mailbox. My nieces and nephews to fear for their safety. And what's been equally hard is not only having to answer the questions from my daughter, who was 7 at the time, my baby girl, who was 7 at the time, is now 8. Attempting to answer her questions that she's asking, and still continue to shield her from what she sees, what she hears. Having a newborn son that I haven't even been able to meet. I haven't been able to hold, touch, kiss. Having to navigate everything that comes with this whole situation. While still attempting to wrap my head around it. I can't honestly say how many times I've sat in my cell, especially during lights out, alone, where it's just you. And just been praying and asking myself, how could this happen? Not just for the people, but for everybody involved, the community too. How could this happen? How? The hardest questions you can ask is those that don't have an answer. No matter how much thinking you do, no matter how much you try to look at it from different perspectives and listen to other outside perspectives and listen to people that you trust and that you love, still coming up with nothing. But to think for 1 second, one question I never had to ask was if this was intentional. That's something that I never asked once. Because I know it wasn't. As a matter of fact, it never even crossed my mind to even attempt to ask myself that, because I know it wasn't. And I know sometimes during this trial probably doesn't show. Maybe hard to believe. But trust me when I say no one outside of the families that had to go through this, no one's heart is more in pieces than mine. So again, I go back to all these exhibits. Go back to everything that's been shown, everything that's been testified to. Everything you've heard during this whole process, this trial. And again, I say the same thing that I said earlier. Same thing I said in opening statements. I'm not reading from any paper, any books. Everything you've heard in opening statements, everything you're hearing now is from right here. Everything. You have the decision. You and you alone. All of you. You have the decision. I'm sure you've taken a lot of notes during this process. Some days are longer than others. A lot of movement in and out of the courtroom for various reasons.